The Phillies, world champions of baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Press Box Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
Well, hello again, everybody. It is indeed Wednesday, December 7th, 2022. Welcome to Philly Press Box Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, and Allstate Insurance in Westchester, Pennsylvania. I'm Chet, and my partner, Bill, decided that he will not be on the show for a second straight week. Can you believe that? Yeah, I'm talking about you, Bill Furman. He is on vacation, and he's in Hawaii, and I guess he'd rather spend time out there than be with me and our wonderful guest tonight. I'm going to remember this, Furman. I'm going to remember this. Oh, well, so much happening on the Philly sports scene, though. James Harden returns to action for the Sixers the other night, but they lose to the lowly Houston Rockets, one of his old teams. It is Army-Navy week in Philadelphia. They will do battle this Saturday afternoon at the Link. The Phillies make a big free agent splash in landing Trea Turner, a couple other pitchers as well. And, oh, yeah, the Eagles improved to 11-1 on the season with a Week 14 contest against those New York Giants at the Meadowlands looming. Can we get to all of that? Hell yeah, we can. A couple of awesome guests on the big show this week. One former Philly Inquirer reporter and columnist, Bob Brookover. Bob now works for NJ.com. Covering the New York Giants, believe it or not, but he used to cover the Phils, so we will talk some Phillies with him as well. And a current Inquirer reporter, that, of course, 76ers beat reporter KEITH Pompey. So we're going to bring Keith on first and then have Mr. Brookie join us in just a bit. Boop stops by later on, Bob Vitrone Jr., and we will make our Week 14 NFL predictions. And I do have Bill's picks, which he no doubt made on an island beach out there. Tough life, Furman. All right, let's get it going. We have number one guest ready to roll. That, of course, KEITH Pompey, the Sixers beat reporter. Hey, Keith, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, Chet?
Doing all right. Let's get right to it. We'll talk Sixers first of all. James Harden, not great in his return Monday night. Is it going to take him a little while, do you think, to get back into form?
I think it will. I think it will. I mean, initially the first quarter, he did look good. I would say that. And then after that, it just seemed like it went south a little bit. But, yeah, I think it's going to take him a while to get back. I think he needs to get his timing back down with the teammates. I also think that, it's just going to be a matter of, like, less is more when it comes to James Harden in regards to, look for swinging the ball as opposed to doing a lot of isolation plays trying to take people off the dribble.
Hey, what's going on with Tyrese Maxey? We talked before the show. We don't have a specific date as far as when he's going to get back. Hopefully sometime in mid or late December, correct?
Yes. Now, the thing about Tyrese, he was cleared on Monday to shoot the ball, do some light shooting. Today, for the first time, he was able to run. Now, he didn't do any sprints, but he was just, running up and down the court, and he did some shooting afterwards. Now, Doc, the problem is he has yet to be cleared to jump up and down, right? And then in basketball, we know, you need to jump. Everybody can't be a set shooter. So the thing is, Doc Rivers is saying he's a ways away. So my question to him was, does that mean like he may not play in December? He says he doesn't know. He says to him a ways away could mean two games. Now, originally it was supposed to be 3 to 4 weeks. 4 weeks will be December the 17th. So, if it doesn't come back by December the 17th, that's when people should start hitting the panic button.
Yeah. Well, Sixers made a lot of off-season additions. I liked most of them, I got to be honest. Montrezl Harrell, Danuel House, DeAnthony Melton, PJ Tucker. But I got to be honest, they've been kind of underachieving in my mind, especially PJ Tucker. I've talked with D-Line and others in recent weeks. I mean, didn't expect him to be a big scorer, but 3.5 points and 5 rebounds, whatever game, that is not what we expected from PJ Tucker.
No, it's not. But at the same time, I kind of think that, I think that when you look at PJ and you look at his game over the years, He might have been a guy like last year, he averaged 7 points, and that was one of his best seasons. But for the most part, he's been on teams where, especially with James Harden in Houston, where James Harden was extremely ball dominant and PJ was the quintessential role player. I think in order to get PJ involved, it's not a matter of shot attempts. It's a matter of touches to make him feel like a part of something. And then, I think the fact with James coming back, you may get more of that and you may get some more opportunities to get threes. But it's weird because he was shooting 50% from three before James Harden went out, 52 actually. And then once James left, he was shooting like 20-something%. So, I feel like James can help his game out a little bit, but PJ is the quintessential role player and he is getting older. So you do expect his numbers to go down a little bit, but I think that we need to see a little bit more of him.
Keith, the Sixers are 12-12 right now, certainly disappointing to most of us. They've got a stretch of games coming up here, 7 straight games at the Wells Fargo Center. I don't remember a streak that long of home games. Then they go on the road for 4 games. But how important is this stretch of home games for the team?
Oh, this is extremely important. Like you say, what you mean? It's 82 games. We're talking about 7 in early December, right? But the thing is right now we look at the state of the Sixers, how this team has been struggling. This is a team that needs to get some confidence, gain confidence. And you look at these games, there's only 3 of these teams that have winning records right now. So if you're the Sixers, you really have to think about, what, I would like to come out of this thing 5-2, if not 6-1. You would love to go 7-0. But this is a really good opportunity for them to rack up some wins at home against, like I said, there's only 3 teams rather, who have a winning record that they're facing during this stretch.
I just put up the standings a second ago, and as it stands right now, the Sixers would be one of those play-in teams at 12-12. I think that's not going to be the case when we get to April. But who do you think are the teams that are most going to compete for the Eastern Conference?
I think there's 2 of them. There's 2 of them. I think it's Boston and Milwaukee. And I think like other teams, maybe the Sixers, if they get their stuff together, and Brooklyn and maybe even the Cavs are all on that second level. But I think Boston, Milwaukee are by far the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, Cavs certainly play much better than anybody expected. Got to talk about the coach, Doc Rivers. I've become less of a fan of his over the last year or so. These second-round exits just aren't doing it for me, Keith. They're 12-12 now. I know they've had injuries, certainly a factor, but how much of a leash do we give Doc Rivers?
That's a great question. I mean, because, you look at the roster and you see that the pieces don't really fit and guys have underachieved. But Doc Rivers wasn't the one who went out there and got him, but he has to coach him up. But there are certain times like, where Doc, he is the coach, and there are certain things in games where he struggled at, right? So as far as a leash, I think it's all up to the owner. Like, does the owner want to let this guy go knowing he still has to pay him, right? So that's the leash that Doc Rivers gets, I believe. But at the same time, that when teams struggle, there's always going to be a fall guy, so to speak. And you're not going to get rid of Joel. You're not going to get rid of James. Daryl Morey's not going to fire himself. So you hate to say it, but it'll probably be Doc Rivers if everything doesn't go well.
Yeah, we're seeing what the other teams in Philadelphia are doing right now. The Phillies making all sorts of moves. The Eagles 11-1, and Howie Roseman making a lot of additions. Is there anything Daryl Morey can do as we get closer to the trade deadline in February to improve this team?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I think that right now, when you look at this team, the biggest need that they have right now is a backup big. I mean, they're getting destroyed on the glass. Whenever Joel Embiid comes out, it's like a beeline to the rim for the other team. So I think that, they got certain guys, reserves, who really stepped up, like Shake Milton, maybe Matisse Thybulle, guys like that. And who knows, Tobias, they could be certain guys that you could try to move to bring in some reinforcements, because they do have a lot of weaknesses on this team. But the main thing to me is backup big. I know that Paul Reed is playing well. I get that. But at the same time, I feel like whenever Joel goes out, the other team automatically goes on a run.
You mentioned Paul Reed. Should he be getting more time than Montrezl Harrell? Should we be seeing more of Reed to see what this kid's got?
Yeah, I do. I think so because, the thing about it is just there is a beeline to the rim, but Paul Reed is a guy who's a shot blocker. He's athletic. He can do a lot of things. Montrezl Harrell is a scorer. He can get buckets, but it just seems like he gives up just as many buckets as he scores, if not more at times. So, I think that this team, when you have some designated scorers, you need someone in there who can defend. And Paul Reed can do that at the rim.
We didn't mention Tobias Harris, but he's played pretty well of late, had some real good games, some season highs. Is he stepping up with these other guys who have been out? Do you like what Tobias is giving them right now?
I do. And it's funny because, when you talk to people who really know Tobias, they've always said in the past, he's not getting an opportunity to show what he can do. He's not getting an opportunity. And now it's one of those things when the guys were out, Tobias was, doing everything that the people said he could do. So it makes you wonder if he was actually getting the opportunity or not. He really stepped up. I think, though, but the Sixers, I think what they need to do is they have to keep him involved because if you saw the last game, it just seems like he was on fire. He shot 7 for 8 for 3. He had a season high 27 points, but he only got one touch in the fourth quarter. And he barely touched the ball in the 2 overtime. So, yes, he's playing well. He's playing great. But the Sixers got to realize and know that he's playing well and great and feed him the ball.
Keith, we're going to switch gears and talk a little Eagles-Giants football because some people, people who follow you on Facebook know that for whatever reason, you are a New York Giants football fan. So, first of all, let me ask you, how did that happen? What happened to you?
It's weird. Like, and my father wasn't really a sports fan, so it was kind of one of those things where I had to pick my own team. And Chet, you remember, a lot of people love the Eagles now, but there was a time when they didn't come on television. And as a kid like me, I was watching TV and I had to pick teams. So it came down to the Steelers, who were winning everything, the Jets. I just didn't like the AFC. And then the Giants. Those were 3 teams that came on TV, and I picked the Giants. The Giants were just as bad as the Eagles, but I got to watch them. So that's why I became a Giants fan.
And you stuck with them. But now, Keith, before we continue, I need you to repeat after me. The Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL. Go ahead. You can say it.
The Philadelphia Eagles are the best team below New York City. In the NFL.
Oh, all right. Well, speaking of those New York Football Giants, their beat writer working out of the NJ.com franchise and for the Newark Star Ledger is a guy who used to work at the Inquirer and Daily News, and we're going to bring him on right now. It is Bob Brookover. Hey, Bob, how you doing, man?
Hey, guys. Hey, Keith. How's it going?
What's up, Brookie?
How you doing?
I see you got an upgrade with your job, huh?
Yeah, I got an upgrade. I'm in the big market now.
Yeah.
They call it the Big Apple. They don't nothing about love there.
I know that's true.
Well, Brookie, you know this. Keith Pompey is a Giants fan. He just admitted that to the world. You went up there this year covering that team, Bob, and I don't think you expected what you're getting. They were expected to win, maybe 5 or 6 games. And right now they're very much in playoff contention. Are they actually a good team or are they just kind of overachieving?
Well, I'll just say I picked them to win 5 games, and they won 5 games. It only took them 7 games to do it, or 6 games to do it, but they won 5 games, and that was my prediction. No, I'm shocked. I mean, I started there in early September, just as the season, about 9 days before the season was starting, and you're feeling your way around on the new beat, and you're talking to the beat guys, who many of them who've been doing it for years and years and years, and all you're hearing is, 5, you might be a little high with 5. And, it was just not supposed to be a very good season. It got off to a great start, a 6-1 start. They've struggled here a little lately. But, Brian Dable in his first year, Joe Shane in his first year as the general manager, they've both done a terrific job, and they got everything to play for here in their last 5 games.
Sure do. Keith, did you and Bob ever talk football at the office?
Not really. Not me. Maybe years ago, like when Bob was on the Eagles beat, and then got to think Bob got on the Phillies, and then he became the columnist. So
correct me if I'm wrong, Keith. Weren't you at the TO driveway press conference?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, really?
I remember
that was the biggest joke, but it was great.
That day I was pulling up. I was coming home from training camp. Because I would stay a day and come home a day when they were at Lehigh, and I was driving home, and Shannon Ryan was filling in for me there was just a special teams practice in the afternoon. She's like, I got it covered. What could possibly happen? And I'm about 5 minutes in my drive home, and I get a phone call. T.O. left camp. And I'm like, where'd he go? He's like, I don't know, but they're following him in the newscopters. So at the time, I lived like 10 minutes and 10 tax brackets away from T.O. He lived in Morristown, New Jersey. I lived in Delray, New Jersey. So I followed the helicopter. I didn't know exactly where he lived, but I kind of followed the helicopters and got to his house.
Yeah, that's a memory right there.
And there was already there ahead of me. Tell me what kind of reporter Keith is.
Keith, before we let you go, I got to get your official prediction. What do you see happening this Sunday, Keith? The Giants, 7-point underdogs against the visiting Eagles. How do you think this is going to play out?
It's weird. My mind is telling me that the Giants are going to get blown out. My heart is telling me the Giants are going to win. But then there's someone like whispering in my ear, keeps saying the Giants are going to upset them. I you know what? Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that when you see the Giants playing the way they played the last couple games, and everybody thinks that the Eagles are just going to slap them. That's a lot of times when we see these upsets, and the Eagles do have some holes now, and so I feel like that, and maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like that the Giants are going to pull off an upset. Not to say that the Giants are a better team, but I just feel like that Barkley's going to have a big game, and a couple guys are going to step up on the defensive end, and the Giants will probably win this one. I know I sound crazy, but I think it can happen.
The Giants have won the last two at MetLife. I will say that.
Yeah.
Last 2 years at MetLife, they've won.
And last year, Jalen Hurts had maybe his worst game up at the Meadowlands in late November. I think he was like 13 for 29 or something like that, 130 yards, 3 interceptions. Hopefully we won't get a repeat of that as an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I just hope that it's a good game. I mean, I just would like to see a good one. And plus, you guys know I'm always trolling people on Facebook. It's all just for fun, people. I just like having fun. But and I even troll the Giants when they lose. But at the same time, I hope the Giants just win, because I have a feeling that I'm gonna get it big time. I'm gonna get it big time.
I'm gonna send you one of these ugly sweaters, Keith. All right.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I figured. Hey, before we let you go, we got to say congratulations to Mr. Brookover, because just a few days ago he became a first-time grandparent. You had a new baby granddaughter born on Sunday, right, Brookie?
I did. Very excited. I just before I came on, my wife texted me she's babysitting right now, and baby Isla has rarely opened her eyes since she came back from the hospital, because she's been sleeping, but she was awake and sitting up, and it was really the first time I've seen her awake. So I saw her at the hospital, but the first time I saw her awake. And
congrats, Brookie. Congrats.
Thank you, sir.
And it's always great seeing you, man. I miss working with you, brother.
You too, Keith. We'll have to talk soon.
Please do. Please.
All right, Keith. We'll be in touch. We'll see you soon, man.
All right. Thanks, Chet, for having me on your show.
You got it. See it. All right, Brookie, let's talk a little more Eagles Giants. First of all, what do you expect on Sunday? What do the Giants as 7-point underdogs have to do to contain Jalen Hurts on the Eagles?
Well, here's the interesting part for Jalen Hurts. He's obviously played much better against the blitz. I mean, that was a thing everybody talked about in the Tampa Bay game last year. How would he handle the pressure? Didn't handle it great. You made the point about the Giants game. He's going to get more blitz pressure Sunday than he will in any game this year, because that's just who the Giants are. They will blitz and blitz and blitz. And Wink Martindale, just when you think he's not going to blitz again, he's going to blitz. That's his MO. It was his MO in Baltimore. It's been his MO here. This is his 5th year as a defensive coordinator, and his teams have led the league in blitzing for those 5 years. So, and the Giants, I have the ability to watch the Eagles and Giants where I'm at, because a lot of times when they're playing at the same time, I can't. But the week the Eagles played the Commanders, I did watch that game. The Giants actually played the Commanders better than the Eagles did. That doesn't mean they're the better team, but they put tremendous pressure on Taylor Heineke on Sunday. Really, they should have won that game. They had the game won 3 different times. Darius Slayton makes a long catch. In the fourth quarter, if he makes that catch, the game's over. There's an interference call right after that. Could have gone either way. Probably should have been interference. And then there was a play, also a completion of Darius Slayton in that same drive where the game's over if any of these things happen, and they get the first down, and John Feliciano, the center, goes over, and he goes over like slap Slayton, and he makes a muscle pose, and the official takes it as taunting, and they get a flag for that, pushes them back. They ended up having the punt. They should have won that game. There've been games this year where you say they shouldn't have won because they play nothing but close games,
right?
Pretty much. But that was one they should have probably won and would have put themselves in great position. Now they've put themselves in they're going to, this game, they need to win a game like this, one of the last 2 against the Eagles, and they also play on Christmas Eve on the Vikings, or they need to definitely beat the Commanders again in 2 weeks, Commanders are spending all week studying what just happened against the Giants with a bye, and then get to play in a weird scheduling quirk, play the Giants back-to-back games.
Bob, I don't read a lot about the Giants, but did I see something about some internal strife on the team this week? Some guys questioning their playing time or whatnot?
Yeah, and these were not one of them was Tay Crowder. He wasn't happy. He played 0 defensive snaps at the start of the season, was a starting inside linebacker. Wink Martindale freely substitutes his defensive players in and out of games because he is always blitzing, and it's a fast-paced defense. But Tay Crowder had been falling out of favor for a while, and his snaps have been going down. In this game, he went to 0 on defense. Rodarius Williams played a very good game in Dallas. Their cornerback situation has been a mess. They're really, their number 3 cornerback is one of the starters. Then they've been rotating young guys at the other corner. And their whole secondary, Xavier McKinney had he on the bye week went on a vacation to Cabo San Lucas and was on an ATV, and it tilted over and broke his hand, basically broke bones in his hand. So they've been without 3 of their 4 secondary guys for a lot of the seasons, which they'll have Fabian Moreau, but they won't have McKinney back. They're still banged up in that secondary, and the Eagles could really take advantage of that. But getting back, the other guy was Rodarius Williams. He had played very well in the fill-in role in Dallas, and then didn't play any defensive snaps in this game. And he put out a little thing on Twitter. As fires go, this is a brush fire, so okay. Not too big a thing.
Hey, ESPN put something out yesterday that has a lot of Eagles fans pretty upset. This power index that shows the Cowboys are more of a favorite to make the Super Bowl than the Eagles. And they also have the Eagles behind Kansas City and Buffalo from the AFC in terms of getting to the Super Bowl and winning it. What do you make of this? Is this just ESPN looking to get people talking, or are the Cowboys really more of a contender than the Eagles?
Well, I don't think you can say they're more of a contender. I think, both teams are Super Bowl contenders. Those top 4 teams, and really I would take it to the 5 teams you got right there. Those 5 teams to me are the top Super Bowl contenders in the NFL. However you want to mix them up, it doesn't really matter. You want to get that home playoff game, home field advantage all the way through because you want that bye week. Right now, the Eagles control that. They don't even have to beat Dallas in Dallas when they play in a few weeks. But, all they have to do is win all their other games, beat the Giants twice. Who else they got? The Giants twice, Cowboys.
And New Orleans.
And then there's one other game, I think, in there, too, that we're missing.
Yeah.
But if they take care of business that way, the Super Bowl goes through Philadelphia. I don't think the Cowboys are saying, "Oh, we're going to go into Philadelphia and definitely win that game." There's no doubt about it that we win that game. But they're a very good team. but Keith made the point earlier. The Eagles are flawed. Yes, every team in the NFL has flaws. Those Buffalo and Kansas City have shown flaws this year. And obviously things happen in the playoffs. The Bengals went to the Super Bowl last year. When the playoffs started, nobody expected the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl.
So are you making a prediction for Sunday? You're covering the Giants. Do you make predictions?
I do. I made it as my introductory column at the Star Ledger and NJ.com. I did a game by game analysis when I picked them to win 5 games, which I point out that
you weren't alone.
I picked the Eagles to lose this game the first time, and then I redid it at midseason because obviously I was wrong about a lot of things about the Giants, and I've picked the Eagles again to lose. And somehow the Giants. The thing about the Giants this year, it's not just that they're 7-4-1; it's the way they got to 7-4-1. They're like 3 of these games, and including this tie the other day, they've been down by double digits, like I think 5 times this year. And in those 5 games, I think they're 3-1-1. So they're one of those teams that you better not let your foot off the pedal because they'll keep coming at you. And I just feel like this is a division game that they need to win. I think the Giants might win this game on Sunday. I really do. And the Eagles can't afford to let them win because the Eagles don't want to be in that position. Because I think if I've looked at this correctly, if the Eagles do have a second loss and then go to Dallas, I think Dallas wins the tiebreakers if they both finish with 3 losses. Now Dallas might lose another game too.
The Cowboys have a pretty easy schedule the next few weeks. So
they do the next few weeks, but they got some tough games. I can't recall who they are off the top of my head, but I know they got some tough games down the stretch too. They finished at Washington, which is no longer an easy game. So So
hey, before we let you go, I got to talk a little Phillies for you. You covered the Phillies for a long time. You were a columnist. You're writing about them. They made a big signing the other day, Trea Turner, the top shortstop on the market. I'm frankly shocked that it happened this fast, and he took a lot less money from what we hear to join the Phillies rather than go to San Diego. I'm guessing you like this signing?
Well, the father-in-law, my daughter's father-in-law, who's the other grandpa involved in baby Isla here, is maybe the biggest Phillies / baseball fan I know. This is somebody who he drove a truck for years and would listen to back and forth from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia every night, and he would spend it listening to baseball the whole time. And he's a huge Phillies fan, crazy Phillies fan. And when the offseason started, he said, well, what do you think? I said, Trea Turner. They want Trea Turner. And they got Trea Turner. How can you, especially with Harper not being there for early in the season, maybe half the season, to have that guy, to me, is just such a great addition. I just love the way that guy plays. It reminds me, and this is going back years, the guy always wanted the Phillies to get that they never did. This is back when they didn't spend nearly the way. Was a guy named Mike Lowell. I don't even remember. Mike Lowell played third base for the Red Sox and the Marlins. Always not superstar, but and Trea Turner probably is a superstar and borderline superstar, but just a solid player who you knew every day. You were getting everything you got from that guy, and that's what you're going to get from Trea Turner.
The big topic on Sports Talk Radio the last several days, who's going to hit leadoff? Is it going to be Trea Turner? Is it going to be Kyle Schwarber? Is it going to be somebody else?
If it's me, I hit Trea Turner leadoff. I want more on base. I want more on base, and B, especially early with Harper being out, I want a guy who can knock Trea Turner in when he gets on base. So I move Schwarber maybe to that 3-hole for especially early in the season, and then you see how the offense is playing. But I would definitely start Trea Turner at the top of the order to start the season.
Okay. Now, of course, Dombrowski wasn't done. He added a couple of pitchers, third or fourth starter in Taijuan Walker, pitched for the Mets the last few years, and reliever Matt Strom coming over from Boston. How are these pickups? You like those?
Yeah, I don't know much about Strom, but I love Taijuan Walker. I mean, I don't see the Red Sox too much, and I didn't get to follow it nearly as much this year as I did. But Taijuan Walker, I do get to see the Mets. I'm in a market where I get New York and Philadelphia teams. If he performs the way he did for the Mets last year, it's an upgrade. As Zach Eflin did a great job and was a great trade. Got Jimmy Rollins for Zach Eflin, ended up being a great trade for the Phillies. But as of right now, where those two guys are, I would say they upgraded the back end of their rotation with Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, definitely. The Mets and Braves aren't going away. They're still going to be right there. How do you see this NL East shaping up in 2023? It's going to be tough.
The same way it's shaped up this year. I mean, you had 3 teams make the playoffs. You're going to probably have 3 teams make the playoffs again. The Phillies showed you just get in, you got a chance, which is a lot of teams have shown over the years. I think usually you want to be that number 1 team. But we saw that the Mets were leaking oil by the time late September came around, and the Braves had a young staff that they got tired, which is one of the things about having young pitching staffs, which the Phillies don't, which I think is a advantage for them, is that, they've had guys who've thrown innings. So when you get to those late stages of the season, they can still handle the workload. When you got younger guys, you don't necessarily know how they're going to handle things come September and the postseason.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Oh, one last thing about baseball, the shift being done away with next year, is that going to add some points to a lot of guys' batting averages, do you think?
It's going to add some runs to the game. Yeah, I think so. I heard Ryan Howard wants to come out of retirement.
Yeah.
It's going to add offense to games. I mean, let's face it, these guys, we all talk about how we hate analytics, or analytics have ruined the game, but these guys are smart. I mean, they did their homework. They knew where balls were going, and they took base hits away by playing the game that way. And there's going to be more base hits involved this year for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. By the way, a lot of people on the message boards are saying congratulations to you. Congratulations, Bob. Congratulations. So everybody happy about you being a first-time grandpa, and you're going to have some fun babysitting and maybe even changing a few diapers, right?
Well, I sure am. I can't wait to do it. I'm very happy about it.
All right. Hey, Bob, for those Giants fans who may be out there, where can people find your work?
It's NJ.com is the website. The New York Star Ledger is the newspaper, but NJ.com is is our main focus of our enterprise, I guess you call it, our news organization. So that would be the place to go. NJ.com, and if you do /Giants, you'll go right to Giant stories.
All right. Well, enjoy baby Isla, and have a great holiday season, Bob. We'll see you again next year.
Thanks, Chet. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
Okay.
All right, Bob Brookover, always great to talk to him. And now we're going to talk a little bit about insurance, because that's what we do at this point in the show. Just have to find my proper logos to put up there. And it's gone. Oh, no. The Allstate Insurance logo is gone. A couple of these things disappeared today. I don't know why that happens, but it is what it is. But I do have the Irish Rover ones ready to go. So as for insurance, Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance is what we're talking about. It puts you in control because you only pay for the miles you drive with the same full coverage that a traditional policy offers. Pay-per-mile insurance gives customers greater control of their insurance costs. See how much you can save with pay-per-mile car insurance by calling your local agent in Westchester, Pennsylvania. It is Dave Lavoie. Call Dave at 610-430-0700. I have that number memorized, 610-430-0700, and start to save more now that you are driving less. And hey, maybe drive to the Irish Rover in Langhorne. I highly recommend that because they have a lot going on right there right now. For example, every Wednesday night, in fact, right about now, they have Quizzo starting up. That's every Wednesday evening. They also have live music on Saturdays. This Saturday night, it is Dueling Pianos. And then next week, my favorite, Thursday the 15th, it is my favorite event at the Irish Rover Station House. It is Ugly Sweater Time. And there are some ugly ones, believe me. I often wear one. Not tonight, though. Tonight I got this beautiful Eagles one on. Anyway, the ugly sweater party at the Irish Rover. I will be there. I'll be dressed appropriately. Just have to decide which of my numerous ugly sweaters I'm going to wear. Oh, strongly consider the Irish Rover if you need a party tray for your holiday party. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. The website, IrishRoverStationHouse.com. And now we cue Merrill Reese.
Hi, football fans. This is Merrill Reese, and you're listening to Bill and Chet on Philly Press Box Radio. It's good!
Yeah, it sure is. Hey, last week I had a great guest on, Jordan Spector. He is an artist, and I did indeed I ordered one of his pieces, and let me see if I can find it right here. Jordan Spector and the Sixers piece. Yeah, that's the one that I ordered. Not quite that big, but I did order one of those. I'm going to put that up in my man cave as soon as it comes in. He's also got an Eagles legacy piece as well. You've probably heard about that. I think that's the one that Bill does have already. That is this one with all the great Eagles from, Chuck Bednarik and the old guys right up through Brian Dawkins and Nick Foles, of course. So all the Eagles legends in one poster, and that is pretty cool. And if you are interested, well, first of all, check out the website. It is SpectorSportsArt.com. Again, SpectorSportsArt.com. See what he's got for sale for your man cave or for a gift for a Philly sports fan. And right now, I think it's through this entire weekend still, thanks to his visit on our show, you can save 20% on your order. I did it with the code PRESSBOX20, all capital letters. PRESSBOX, one word, 20. Again, PRESSBOX20 to save 20% on the great stuff from Jordan Spector. Speaking of great stuff, some kids maybe just want a toy this holiday season. Well, for Christmas or Hanukkah, with that in mind, the Delco Group Toy Drive is all set for a week from Friday in beautiful Delco, of course. Edge of Philly Sports donating a bunch of stuff. Me and the other guys from EOP contributed to that with some cash and toys. Please donate if you can. It is Friday the 9th at the Selling Delco office, 777 West Sproul Road in Springfield. Again, that is 3 to 7 p.m. for that toy drive. You know what? I was going to do something else here, but I see Bob Vitrone waiting in the wings. It does not look like he is at Splits tonight. Let's see where he is. Boop, are you ready to go?
I'm here.
There you are.
Gentleman. Gentleman.
I am not a gentleman. You must be mistaken.
I think your Allstate logo got lost in your sweater.
You like that, don't you?
It's nice.
Boop, you're not at Splits tonight. You are in your home office, it looks like. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
I'm not going to criticize you too much, although you did cost me a little bit of money by assuring me that Kansas City and Andy Reid would win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
I told you he had never won in Cincinnati, and that still goes
now.
Still
haven't.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, folks, this is Boop. You know him. You love him. He's often from Splits, which sponsors this segment. Bob Vitrone Jr. Boop, let's get to this week's predictions. You and Bill both did pick up a game on me last weekend. The Giants-Commanders game ended in a thrilling 20-20 tie, so we're just going to throw that game out. No harm, no foul for any of us. You guys picked Washington. I picked the Giants to get the upset. They should have won, but they didn't come through in the end.
Our tie was better than yours.
I never liked ties anyway. Stopped wearing them years ago. We will drop that game from the record books, as I said. We all picked the Cowboys to win. They beat the Giants. We all took the Chiefs to beat the Bengals. That did not happen, as we discussed. And yes, I did pick the Eagles to lose to the Titans. Boy, was I wrong. I'll say it again. I was wrong big time. So you guys were both 2-1. I was 1-2. For the season, I am now 33-19. One game up on Bill, just one. And Bill, you're only 6 back now instead of 7. So you're moving on up. Got a ways to go, though. All right. Looking at week 14, the Commanders are finally having their bye week, and the Eagles and Giants play one another. So we are going to add 2 other games this week, both of which could be pretty interesting. And let's start off with one of those. Boop. We're talking Minnesota at Detroit. And what really amazes me is that despite Minnesota having a far better record, the home Lions are a 2.5-point favorite when I look today. What's going on there?
Yeah, I had checked on that a couple of different sites just to make sure. I don't get it. There's been a lot of them this year where they've been on the line's been on the wrong side, but these guys tend to know what they're doing. I don't think they know it here. Minnesota has a chance to lap the field in that division. They're 10-2. Detroit and Green Bay each have 5 wins, so they can end up with double the number of wins that their second place team has when we're all said and done. And that's only been done about 7 or 8 times in NFL history. So this game, the win by the Vikings on Sunday, is going to go a long way to doing that.
Well, you know what? I am trusting the odds makers on this one. I'm going to use that line. The line tells me something. And so I'm taking Detroit in this one. It would actually help the Eagles too, because, Minnesota is kind of on their heels in terms of the best record in the conference. So I'm going to take Detroit and see what happens.
Okay.
All right. And Bill has his picks in. He is taking Minnesota as well. So a chance for you guys to gain another game on me if the Vikings prevail. We'll see.
Bill ever coming back?
I don't know. He's probably not. You know what, though? Let me see if I have the picture. I know I put it in here. Bill apparently would rather look at this than you and me, Boop. Can you believe that?
I don't know. I half agree after looking at your sweater. So, yeah.
Oh, you two, Bill always makes fun of my sweaters. I think this is a lovely sweater, not an ugly sweater, but that's just me.
Yes, it is nice. It's a lovely sweater.
There you go. All right, Tampa Bay at San Francisco is our next game. San Fran going with their backup quarter now, that quarterback Jimmy G out until at least the NFC Championship game, they say. I don't think they're going to get there now, going with what is it, Brock Purdy? Is that his name? The last guy picked in the draft?
Right, yes. Yep.
Yeah. Still, San Francisco favored by 3.5.
Yeah, we've learned in Philadelphia, as much of a drop off as you think it is, especially late in the year. They're an NFL quarterback for a reason, so they know the game. My question is, Tom Brady just is no way. You think he might be done or his team is done. He shows up and they get a victory and they're division at 6-6. So he might add. He's going to add to the Niners' woes again this week. I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Wow, you are taking Tampa Bay, and so is Bill. And I'm going with the home team again with the backup quarterback. So, man, you guys could pick up a second game if you're right, of course. So, yeah, I'm picking San Fran. You guys are both taking Tampa. I think we're all going to agree on the next one, Boop. Houston at Dallas. The Cowboys favored by 16.5 or 17 points. Wow.
Yeah, Dallas is 39-5, 2-touchdown favorite at home in their 55, 9-year history. So, they're going to win. Houston's not as good as any of those 5 teams that pulled those upsets. So, Cowboys Sunday.
Yeah, we agree on that one. Bill also, he hasn't lost his mind yet out in Hawaii. And finally, the Eagles at the New York Football Giants this Sunday at 1:00. We talked a little bit about it with both KEITH Pompey and Bob Brookover. KEITH is hoping the Giants win. Brookie is actually picking the Giants to get the upset. We'll see. What do you say, Boop?
Well, the Eagles are going for a regular season road win, which would tie a club record, and their 12th straight regular season win on a Sunday, which would also tie a club record, I think. So, they're playing well, and even the Giants, who just seem to keep winning when they're not playing or tying when they don't play well. I don't think they've played anybody like the Eagles yet this year. So this is gonna be a W easily.
For the Eagles, yeah. Bill agrees, and so do I. I think it could be a close game. I think that 7-point line is going to come into play. A lot of nervous bettors will be watching that game closely in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I'm going to take the Eagles to win and cover, though. I'm taking the Birds 27-17. I picked against the Eagles last week. I learned my lesson. I'm not doing it this week.
Yeah, right. One of the many lessons you need to learn, Chet.
Yeah, I know. Except for fashion tips. I'm covered there.
Exactly.
Boop. We get another football game in town this weekend. It is Saturday afternoon at the Link. They don't play it every year in Philly anymore, unfortunately. A lot of people are upset about that. We're talking Army-Navy. Both teams losing records this year, but it's frequently a very good game. Navy favored by 1.5 when I checked today. What do you know about this game? And, what else can you give us in the way of tidbits?
Yeah, our Army had a big upset in the game last year. So I know that much because I don't know. I guess maybe I bet the other team. So I know Army had a big win next year, and I'm not going to bet it again simply because that stuff happens in this game. It's more than a game. It's a It's almost like a statement on the society, and it's a really good thing. My mom loved this game. She would talk all year to me about the president changing sides at halftime down at JFK Stadium, so it was great. It is sad. This is the only Army-Navy game in Philadelphia over an 8-year span. The previous 2 were not in Philadelphia. The next 5 will not be in Philadelphia. Now, that pales in comparison to the 38 straight Army-Navy games that were played in South Philadelphia from 1945 to 1982. I know a lot of people are saying it should be here every year, and I don't like that, but I get we should share this game. I have no problem with that. So I propose every other year, 1 year in Philadelphia, next year it can go somewhere else. Maybe you're Baltimore, you're New York, closer to the schools, a Chicago, a Pasadena, even 1 year had it, but every other year it should be in Philadelphia for the sole reason that it's been here forever, and it is basically the birthplace of the country. So those are my 2 cents on the 2 services.
Have you ever been to the game yourself?
I have not. It's probably, it's a thing I should have been at many times. A lot of times when there are Army-Navy games, there are also college basketball games at the Palestra. Back when I was doing stuff like stats for my dad, and also the opportunity wasn't there most years. But yeah, it's one of those things I probably should have partaken in. I was a big fan of JFK Stadium, so I really wish I would have gone to see it when it was around. But I missed that opportunity, but maybe I'll get down to the link some year and see it when it comes back in 2027.
I did not realize it was going to be away that long. I knew they,
had it was around earlier this year. The next 5 will be in New England, then Washington, then Baltimore, and then New York City. The next 4. So,
Oh, well. Hey, you mentioned the Palestra and college basketball. Last week when you were on, there was a doubleheader going on at the Palestra.
Yes.
And boy, it did not work out as Fran Dunphy and others would have hoped. It was, from what I saw, just kind of a half full Palestra, and there just wasn't the buzz like the old days. It's kind of sad, isn't it, Poop?
Yeah, it is. It's a different time, a different place, and December's a hard time to get the students involved because even though most of them are on campus in December, they're also working on getting ready for finals. So it's not, the greatest time of year to pull the students out. The problem, the thing that I came across, which was terrible, is that Barstool Sports hosted a doubleheader with no Philly schools down at the Wells Fargo Center in early November that got more people than this did. That tells you it's marketing. Barstool Sports put a lot of money into it. They brought a lot of VIPs in, and so you don't just roll the ball out and throw 4 local teams and expect everyone to show up. This isn't 1960. There's a lot of money that goes into it, a lot of marketing, and it's got to be a shared marketing with all the teams. And I think they are trying to take a step to that by having these games, but you got to approach it with a 2020 mentality and not a 1970s mentality.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Boop, we talked Phillies earlier with Bob Brookover. What do you think of the Phillies moves, picking up Trea Turner and signing a couple of pitchers as well?
I'm fine with the kid, Turner. He'll be fine. At some point next year, I think someone's going to say that Trea Turner is the best player on the Phillies. I think he's that good of a player. I think it's that important of a position, especially now with no shifting. It's going to be fun at some point, but you do this, and I don't want to go back to the McGinnis Irving not enough ball type of thing that shows up a lot in basketball. It doesn't show up as much as baseball, but they're not going to start 14-1. You just know they're going to come out of the gate a little messed up, stagger a little bit, maybe not quite get the pitching they want. And they're going to be 7-7 going into the second week of April, and everybody's going to be jumping off the Ben Franklin Bridge.
It's going to be fun, though. I'll tell you, I wish Bryce would be back sooner rather than later. It's probably going to be July from what we hear, but they're going to be a fun team to watch with all the new faces, and I'm excited.
I saw a note. One of the free agents was telling one of the Philadelphia writers, and I don't know who it was. I don't remember who it was, that he was saying that the agents who talk said that the atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park was really coming through on the TV to those people, to the agents and the players watching. So, you talk about the fans being involved in a game and like the Bird Hooten game way back in the day, or the 700 level at the Eagles net. These people getting involved in free agency. How many cities do you know whose fan base helps influence free agency? It's just amazing. And, it's gonna be a fun time next year, next couple of years for the Red Pinstripes.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, my friend Robbie Ellis, who I just saw last weekend, has very good taste. She complimented me on my sweater. So
of
there.
Course, consider how her son dresses. So
No, not the same Ellis.
I know.
All right, Boop. Anything else for us this week?
No, I'm good. Gonna go back up and watch Villanova Penn.
All right, get yourself back to Splits real soon, and hopefully I'll see you there. Splits Bar and Grill on Route 73, Maple Shade. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did. You must know where it is.
All right, we'll see you, Boop.
Thanks, sir.
All right, the great Bob Vitrone Jr., a.k.a. Boop. By the way, a lot of people choosing Navy in the Army-Navy game this weekend in Philadelphia. So we'll see. I have no real rooting interest either way. My dad, of course, was in the Army for many, many years, and he always rooted for the Army. So I guess for my late father, I would root for Army, but beyond that, Robbie said that she was at one of the Army-Navy games many, many, many years ago, and I lost that little one that I was going to post. There it is right there. Robbie, 1987 at the vet. Wow. It is on my bucket list. I will get there one of these years. I can assure you of that. All right, let me tell you, our viewers and listeners, about Philly sports trips. They have road trips to all away games as far as the Eagles. Plus, check this out. They have a trip up to Brooklyn this February to watch the 76ers beat up on Ben Simmons and those Brooklyn Nets. That is February 11th. That one is on my radar. And then spring training the following month, believe it or not, they have a couple of trips going to Clearwater and the nearby area. March 16th to the 21st is one of them. I think they have another one the previous week also. You could hang out with Charlie Manuel during that one trip. All the details on the website, phillysportstrips.com. Again, phillysportstrips.com. Also, Edge of Philly Sports has a new sponsor. It is Sherry's Ticket Town. Check this out. Sherry's Ticket Town. They have tickets for concerts and sporting events with no hidden fees. It's Sherry's Ticket Town. And yeah, they even do have some Springsteen tickets available on there at competitive secondary market prices. And you can save 10% with the promo code EOP10, all caps, EOP10. It is Sherry's Ticket Town, but the website is sherrystickets.com. What else can I tell you about? The Raz Room, perhaps? Please tell me I have that here. I do. There it is, the logo for the Raz Room. PPCC 118 Raz Room. They post great sports memorabilia on their Facebook page, so people can take a chance on winning something they may not be able to afford or have access to otherwise. All items come with certificates of authenticity. They've continued to run out great autograph memorabilia from all of the Philly teams and more. So check out their Facebook page, like it or follow it. Do both, in fact. It is PPCC 118 Raz Room. Once again, PPCC 118 Raz Room on Facebook. Hey, we got a great show for you next week. I'm going to tell you about this one, and a lot of people are going to be very, very happy about this, including my partner, Bill Furman. I'm assuming he will be back. He's not going to stay in Hawaii another week, is he? No, he will be back, he assures me. And he's going to be thrilled about next week's show because returning to our show next Wednesday for the first time since right before he started his retirement last spring. That is right. It is the GOAT of Philly sports journalism. We're talking about the Hall of Famer himself, Ray Didinger. And I cannot wait to talk Eagles, Phillies, and what it's like to sit home on a Sunday and watch the birds instead of having to go to a studio. Ray Didinger joining us here on Philly Press Box Radio. Can't wait for that. All right, let's see. A couple of other things before we wrap up. Trying to line up my pictures and whatnot. Yeah, Army Navy this week on my bucket list. Hopefully I will get there one of these days. Fred McGriff going into baseball's Hall of Fame. Solid player, the crime dog. Is he Hall of Fame worthy? I'm not so sure, but congrats to Mr. McGriff. And, Kirstie Alley died the other day. Colon cancer, they say, is the cause. 71 years old. Man, she was so good on Cheers and even her follow-up show, Veronica's Closet. She was good on there. She did the Look Who's Talking movies and, had many other roles over the year. Saw her on talk shows and on the Today Show many times. Just seemed like a real nice person. And just found out a couple of months ago, or less than that even, that she had colon cancer and it progressed rapidly. So that's a little advice. Get checked for colon cancer starting in your 40s. Don't wait. I've gone 3 times already over the years because I'm old. So get yourself checked, and rest in peace, Kirstie Alley. And on a personal note, the father of a friend of mine, Joe Valley, who's been on our show a couple of times, his dad, Joe Valley Sr., passed away last week. I believe the viewing is Thursday evening, funeral services on Friday. I did meet him a couple of times. Just a super guy. And his son, Joe, author, writer, and himself now a dad, really, really respected his dad. And I could see why, having met him. So rest in peace, Joe Valley Sr., and my condolences to Joe Jr. and his wife and the entire Valley family. All right. Anything else? I'm taking the Eagles this week. You heard that. Army-Navy game this Saturday. The Sixers host the Lakers on Friday night, the first of a 7-game homestand. They also have a Christmas Day game. I believe that is up at Madison Square Garden. They close out the year with 4 road games. Hopefully, Tyrese Maxey will indeed be back by then. James Harden will be in better form by then. Joel Embiid will still be in the lineup, and the Sixers will get on a little winning streak because they got to improve their standing, of course. The college football semifinals are set. TCU and Michigan, Ohio State and Georgia. You would think both Michigan and Georgia would win those, but you never know. So that's still a little ways off, but there's your Final Four in college football: TCU, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and then not next year, but I believe 2024 or 25. I think it's 24 going into 25. They will go to the expanded playoff format, 12 teams making the cut instead of the current 4. So that is going to be interesting, and I'm sure we'll talk about that again at some point. Hey, do you play Wordle? I do. I play it pretty much every day. And Google announced, I guess it was last night or early this morning, that yes, there were loads of Google searches this year related to Johnny Depp, Will Smith, and Chris Rock, the slap, Queen Elizabeth election results. They were all high on the list, but the most searched term on Google this year was, in fact, Wordle. I play it, and I'm on a little winning streak right now. I don't, go crazy and post the results all the time, but the search site said, yes, Wordle was easily the top trending search globally this year, as guessing 5-letter words every day became a way of life for a lot of people, including me. So go play some Wordle, see how you do. All right, let's wrap it up. We have done enough damage here tonight. We've reached the top of the hour, or just about anyway. Oh, by the way, my beer of choice tonight is called Fugly Sweater. Yeah, Fugly Sweater. It is a dark lager brewed with ginger cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon from Ithaca Beer Company. I'm sad to report that I don't love it. It just doesn't have the cinnamon and nutmeg coming through enough. It's more just kind of like a bland dark lager. But I do like the can, and it goes with people this time of year who wear ugly sweaters, unlike this beautiful one that I am wearing. Anyway, we want to thank our sponsors: Irish Rover Station House, Bob Sullivan's LikeYourAge.com, PPCC 118 Razroom, Dave Lavoie, Allstate Insurance in Westchester, plus Philly Sports Trips and Sherry's Ticket Town and all the other new sponsors that we throw in there occasionally. So for Bill Furman, I'm Chet, and we hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mark your calendar, the great Ray Didinger joining us on next week's show. You can find us on Facebook Live. You can find us on YouTube every week. You can find us on PhillyPressBoxRadio.com, Blog Talk Radio. If you just like the audio and don't want to see our faces, check us out. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Bullhorn, a whole bunch of other places. Anyway, we are done. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans, and fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds! And I will play the fight song.
Let's do the song. Come on.